Hey guys, I'm a walrus. Her. Hi YouTube. It's been a while. Not a long time as I've had longer absences, but it's been longer than I would have liked it for it to have been. I've made a New Year's resolution early to myself to create a little bit more content, put stuff out there, see if people will respond, see if people like it, hate it, whatever. I'm gonna vlog a little bit more about things, some of my geekery, things that I like, anime, movies, TV shows, anything. It can be anything. For example, I do intend to dedicate a whole vlog to Saved by the Bell, because as my friend the Prince, Prince and I have realized, we know far too much about Saved by the Bell. And yes, this was inspired by Dustin Diamond being arrested recently. So there, just to let you know what you're in for. Okay, so first vlog topic, new era vlog topic, is going to be Kevin Smith's movie Tusk. Now, first of all, I will warn you, if you have not seen this movie and intend to, which you should absolutely, even if you don't intend to, I'm telling you now, watch the movie. Watch it, because it is brilliant. It's out there, and it will blow your mind, but watch it because it deserves to be watched. Okay, so I am going to talk, there will be spoilers, so if you haven't seen it, go ahead, pause this, come back later, watch it after you watch it, see if you agree with what I say, maybe you disagree, maybe you tell me I'm a moron, and whatever. Hopefully you'll do it nicer than that, like, no, I disagree, whatever, because some people have hated on the movie, and people who call themselves Kevin Smith fans have even hated on it just a bit, and I'm like, wow, guys, really? I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying if you're a fan of somebody, you have to like everything they come out with. But you can go, well, this isn't my cup of tea, guy, so, I'm just going to say I don't like it. And that's one thing, but kind of bashing the guy is completely another thing. Don't completely bash a guy you claim to be a fan of just because he puts out something that's not what you maybe like. I don't know. I'm just, don't be I have a friend named Jason Fry, and he says, don't be a fanboy, just be a fan. And it's good advice. If you're a geek, don't be a fanboy, just be a fan. Anyway, on to Tusk, and I absolutely will do an entire Kevin Smith episode and go into detail. Probably not great detail, but on all the movies, but for now I just want to focus on Tusk because it's the latest cinematic offering he's put out there. So if you haven't seen it, go ahead and don't continue beyond this point because there will be spoilers. Now, Tusk is about a guy who surgically turns another guy into a walrus. It's mind-blowing in itself. Like, wow. It's not we're right ideas here in Hollywood, we're remaking something old. It's totally new, which is amazing because Kevin Smith had been saying, it sounded like to me he was getting a little bit, the fire was dying down a bit to create some movies and films, and this seemed to have really lit his fire because he's got all kind of new content coming out, which again I'll discuss in a later vlog, but it's really got him going, so I'm happy about it. I'm stoked, and I really did like it. Like I said, I get that it's not your usual offering, and so some people might be like, what did I just watch? Because I was like, what did I just watch? What just happened here? But I had to watch it twice just to kind of come to grips with that, because it is out there, but it's awesome. It's genius. If you look closely, it's genius. And anyway, so it's about a guy named, well, first off, it was inspired by an episode of one of Kevin Smith's brilliant podcast, funny, hilarious podcast. He has many, but this podcast he does with Scott Mosier, and it's about a guy. There was a ad on an internet site, I think it was, that a guy offered free room and board, and all you had to be willing to do was dress in a walrus costume 2 hours a day. And so I it's been a while since I've heard it, so I don't remember all the full details, but it was still pretty hilarious. And Kevin Smith said, you know what, that'd make a good movie. And he had people with Twitter, tweet Walrus Yes or Walrus No. Hashtag Walrus Yes, hashtag Walrus No. And people turned out for that and said yes. And so he made the movie. It's about a guy named Wallace who has a podcast. And it's called the Nazi Party. Notsee, not as to quote the movie, Nazi Party. And which we learn that you can't say Hitler in an airport. Brilliantly funny. In this movie. So it's the Notsee Party. Wallace has the podcast. His friend Teddy, Haley Joel Osment of the Sixth Sense fame, is his buddy Teddy. And the reason it's called the Nazi Notsee Party is because Teddy never sees anything. Wallace goes out of town. Teddy won't leave Los Angeles. Wallace goes out of town, meets interesting people, sees interesting places, comes back, tells Teddy about it on the podcast. Thus the Nazi Party. So there's a guy called the Kill Bill Kid. It's a play on the Star Wars Kid from YouTube, if you remember that. And he has cut his leg off while playing with a samurai sword. And Wallace is going to interview this kid for the podcast. So we find out by and by that Wallace is a little bit of a douchebag. He was a good guy at first, but he got famous, and he kind of teases people maybe he shouldn't, and laughs about things maybe that aren't exactly maybe okay. And he cheats on his girlfriend, and so he's not a nice guy like he used to be. And I think this is done really probably to make us feel not necessarily okay with him being turned into a walrus surgically, because I'm not sure there are any circumstances where that's okay, but at least to kind of, so we aren't totally like, oh, that poor guy, so we can, I think it's there for a reason. Anyway, so he's going to interview this Kill Bill Kid. Well, he gets there, and lo and behold, the Kill Bill Kid has committed suicide. And so Wallace is in Canada, and now it is in Canada, and Walking Casino, my dear friend, they do poke fun at Canada and Canadians, and I don't think it's done in a mean way. It's pretty, it's lighthearted. They talk American invented sadness. We're red, white, and blue, but in Canada they're red, white, and never blue. And brilliant line, like there are no serial killers in Canada. Eh? I mean, it's really funny. I don't know. Maybe Canadians would find it very offensive, but hopefully not. I don't think it's meant that way. So hopefully you guys will. For all the Canadians I've known have a sense of humor, so I'll say it's probably okay. Because I would never do anything to make my friend Walking Casino sad, because he's an awesome guy. Alright, so he goes to Canada. He's shot now. The interview he had is shot. He is in a bar, and he sees an ad on the restroom wall, because God knows some of the best things you can do with find ads on the restroom wall and answer them. And it says, kind of similar, the guy lived at sea. He was a sailor, and now he's stuck on land here, and he has a big house, and needs somebody to help him clean it, and he will offer free room and board if you'll just listen to his stories. And of course, Wallace is like thrilled because this guy sounds so interesting for the podcast. So he calls the guy and gets directions. And by the way, we see Kevin Smith's daughter, Harley Quinn Smith, which is a brilliant name, by the way. Harley Quinn, come on, that's so awesome. It's just great. I love it. I love the name. Anyway, she makes her acting debut. I don't know her earlier debut, because I think she was in, I know at least J.S. Silent Bob Strike Back, I think, as, what was it, Clerks 2? Okay, my mind's getting addled here, but she was in one of those films as a baby. She was Baby Silent Bob, I know, but and I think she was on Clerks 2 and Jan Silent Bob Strike Back as Baby Silent Bob, and as a younger kid on Clerks 2. But she is in the movie as she plays a clerk. So awesome. So anyway, she plays a clerk, and also beside her is one Mr. Johnny Depp's daughter. So yeah, I mean, wow, that's awesome. Okay, so anyway, he gets directions from them. He goes to this big old house. Okay, now Michael Parks. If you haven't heard of him, man, you are missing out. He's been in several Quentin Tarantino films. He was in Red State, another Kevin Smith film, which was amazing in itself. The guy is just crazy amazing at acting. I mean, he is awesome. He delivers every line in this movie like it's an epic poem. I mean, it's just something, the way he delivers his lines freaked me out. Like, if I ever went to somebody's house and they're talking like this guy, I'm like, leaving right now, because that guy is creeping me out. Okay, so he delivers the lines like that, which is really awesome. And he also, Kevin Smith does this brilliant piece of camera. The camera work is all brilliant the whole time, but he does this one little brilliant thing. And maybe I'm just reading too much into it. Maybe it wasn't even on purpose, but there's a shot where Wallace is kind of walking around looking at the awesome collection of stuff the guy's collected in this house, and the shot follows. All you see is like his knees and feet, and he's in a wheelchair, an electric wheelchair, and he kind of follows around, and the camera pans as his legs follow Wallace, and for some reason that felt, wow, it just creeped me out, and well done, well done, I think. And another example of good camera uses is when he's surgically turning him into a walrus. It shows like all these posters on the wall of human anatomy and walrus anatomy, and and so it just pans completely around with this really eerie music, and you see him occasionally sewing, and it's just wow. So Wallace gets here and he's talking to the guy, and the guy's telling him a story, and he has brilliant lines like I don't want to spoil all the great lines for you, so I won't go into all the great lines he has. But he tells them these like amazing stories about meeting Ernest Hemingway, and like I say, he talks like he's reading epic poems, and he does tell a few, he does a few poems, and it's just amazing. And he drugs Wallace, and so Wallace is knocked out. Boom, knocked out. He wakes up. The dude tells him a spider bit him. He's in a wheelchair, and he's got like one leg's off, and Wallace of course is freaking out, but he can't move, and he's still kind of drugged, and it progresses from there. Again, I don't want to spoil too much. I mean, in case you do watch it, if you haven't watched it and you for some reason decided to just keep watching this, but you'll get what I'm saying when you know what happens. And the dinner table, and when Michael Parks, when Wallace is just like screaming for help, and Michael Parks starts right along with him. Wow, I mean, that just was powerful. And then we see the surgery, and then we see what Wallace looks like, and he's splayed out on the table, both legs gone, hands sewn to his side. I mean, after this like dramatic going around the room with the posters and watching Michael Parks, so that is brilliant camera work, and now I have to give credit to Justin. He plays amazing. I mean, to me, I would never have the nerve to play a role where I would have to be getting into a walrus suit, because I think that would drive me insane right there. But he does it. So kudos to everybody in this film. Deserves a big, huge thumbs up. So anyway, before this happens, where he sews them in, Wallace has managed to find a cell phone and call and leave messages on Teddy and his girlfriend's phones, saying, I'm scared, and what's all. He tells them what's going on, and so they start looking for him. Okay, well, the police and everybody in Canada are trying to go through and see people who might have seen him, but not having much luck. But the police turn him on to this guy, Guy Lapointe, who says he's been chasing a serial killer for a while, and he kind of describes things. Now, first off, your mind will be blown because Guy Lapointe is Johnny Depp. Now, I had heard Johnny Depp was in the movie, and I had kind of let it slip my mind, so I never realized until after I went on IMDb to look up a few other people who I saw who I thought looked familiar, and found out Guy Lapointe was Johnny Depp, and I'm like, no, that's not Johnny Depp. I mean, seriously, if you know that's Johnny Depp just looking at him the first time, I would be amazed, because it's crazy. And I probably shouldn't have said that and spoiled it for you, but I hope you are not watching this if you haven't seen it. But that was crazy. And he tells him he's been chasing this guy for a while. This isn't the first time we've done it. Because when we see Walrus Wallace, that's great too, Wallace the Walrus, for the first time, we see him, and he is he is full walrus out, like as far as, see, he's in this big, he's got his hands all splayed out like flippers and sewn, and it's the walrus suit's made of human skin, I think, and it's crazy. And he says, you know, if you're gonna be a walrus, he calls him Mr. Tusk because he named him you know what? I'm terrible. The whole reason the guy is fascinated with walruses is because he was shipwrecked, and he was on an island, and on the island a walrus saved his life, and so that's why the thing for walruses. And he named the walrus on the island Mr. Tusk because of a janitor that he had in the school named Mr. Tuskegee. Yeah, anyway, so Mr. Tusk, and he's calling Wallace Mr. Tusk, and he turned him into a walrus, and he has this like makeshift island down, like in this room. He turns it into, he's got like sound effects, and he's got water, and he got a big rock, and he sits against Wallace, and he talks to him like he's talking to, like, oh, Mr. Tusk, I miss our haven, or it's just really, really great. Now, I can say Johnny Depp's character, I think, is there for a bit of comedy relief, because by this point, the movie's gotten pretty intense by this point, so it's really intense. So I think Johnny Depp was a little bit of comic relief, kind of to get you to go, whew, I needed that to laugh right then, because it was really intense. And the guy, Guy Lapointe, Johnny Depp tells us that he's telling the story about, he thinks he met him one time, and it's Michael Parks, and he's pretending to be kind of a simple, how does Johnny Depp, I can't remember exactly how he puts it, but he's pretending not to be a little slow. He's talking like he's like, and you're hearing a minor out of my potty home. I mean, so it's a great little comic relief there, and he is able to track the guy down he goes to the store where Kevin Smith and Johnny Depp's daughter are at, and gets this pad, finds out the address Wallace wrote down, and they find the house, and they go in. And by this point, Michael Parks is dressed in a walrus suit himself, but not like full. He's just like, his face is here, and he has a walrus skull here, and he's trying to get Wallace to fight him, and he's fighting him, and he's like, yeah, come on, you gotta learn your survival instincts. And by that time, Wallace has finally started to like get into it, and he's pushing him back, and he's trying to fight him, and he goes, your survival instincts kicked in, but now so have mine. And he rips out of the suit, and he's got a club, and he's like, now you have to decide, if you go full walrus, you can live, but you'll live the rest of your life as the walrus. He tells him he's made it longer than the others. He goes, or you can let me kill you. And so it's kind of like, hey, do I want to live the rest of my life like this, or do I want to be a walrus? What do I do? So he goes and takes the club up, and Wallace gets him in the foot with his tusk. And then starts stabbing him in the throat, and he's like freaking out. And by that time, his girlfriend and Teddy bust in, and they're like oh my God, because think about how you would react. And Johnny Depp's character comes in, and he levels a rifle, and he's going to shoot Wallace. And if it was me, shoot me in the head. If somebody does something like that to me, please just shoot me in the head, because I do not want to live that way. I would have tried to kill myself long before. I don't know how Michael Parks took safeguards. I don't know how the character, he played Howard Howard, how he stopped him from doing that, but I could only imagine I would have tried long before that. But then you see the ending, and because the scene goes black with him pointing the gun at him, and then you see the ending, and his girlfriend and Teddy are going up to this zoo. It looks like an old abandoned zoo, and they look down at an enclosure with a little pool in it with a ball, and they throw this fish down, and they say, you can come out, and Wallace comes out, and he starts eating the fish. He looks up at the girl, has a few tears in his eyes, and sad music, it spans upwards, and c'est la vie, that's it. But and then there's a lot of debate, because some people are like, was she being cruel, like you were a jerk, so now I'm gonna let you live as a walrus and eat fish, or was she being, did she just not have it in her to kill him and put him out of his misery? Was it kindness, or was it cruelty? And I'm kind of, I want to leave. I'm not sure, because the other argument is, that he gave up his humanity, so he's not really suffering as a walrus per se, because he gave up his humanity completely when he killed Michael Park's character. I don't know. I don't know how to feel. I actually tweeted at Mr. Kevin Smith and said, hey, dude, what were we supposed to take from that last scene? I'm hoping he'll reply. So, because I don't know how to feel. Because when the first time I watched it, I was like, okay, because she stopped the guy from shooting him, maybe if she didn't have the heart to kill him. But then after the second time, I'm like, well, maybe it was cruelty. Maybe she's like, dude, you were kind of a jerk, so now live as a walrus. Although that seems a bit much, so I'm not sure. People hate on this movie, and I don't see why. It's, I'm not saying it's the best thing ever, but it's pretty great to me. I like it. I like it a lot. And I say, well done, Kevin Smith. Well done indeed. It's awesome. It's different. I mean, it's not the same. A lot of times in Hollywood they keep giving us the same stuff over and over, and this is completely different. It's rekindled Kevin Smith's passion for movies, so I say it's a good thing. It's a great thing. And I'm not just saying that because it's my dearest desire that when he makes Clerks 3, if they do film in North Carolina or Georgia, to be an extra. I do hope he makes me an extra. I hope somehow that he will find out I exist. I tweet at him, and I'm hoping. But anyway, that's beside the point. Although if anybody knows Kevin Smith and got his ear and say, look, this guy wants to be an extra. He'll do anything. He'll stand in a wall, buy a cup of coffee at the store, whatever, for Clerks 3. Or any movie. I just don't have easy access to get to Canada, because there will be a trilogy. Tusk is part 1, and then you'll have Yoga Hosers, and then part 3 is going to be Moose Jaws, which is Jaws with a moose. And see, for that concept alone, I'm ready. I'm excited about the trilogy there. But and I think he's getting to make his TV series called Hit Somebody. It's about a hockey player, which I'm also excited about. And anyway, I'm running 22 minutes long. I don't know if anybody will sit here and watch my ramblings for that long, but yeah, I'm gonna put in this now and say, well done, Kevin Smith. And as a message to all you folks out there in YouTube land, never go full walrus.